mostly, yeah, we are live now. So welcome to Transcontinental Times, and today for our session we have Abhimanyu Kukreja, the director of Rockumentary, the film which is about to release in a very short while, and I'm really excited about it because it takes us through the journey of evolution of Indian rock, and in itself is a very Herculean and a mammoth task. And the film that has come out is so sprawling in nature that you just uh, forget that this is something that has taken him years to do. You feel as if you were always a part of that journey right from day one. So Abhimanyu, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank you, Murtaza. Thank you for inviting me over. It's a pleasure to meet you again. You're one of the first film critic who had actually reviewed the film when it was at its festival stage. So I'm so happy to just see you back again.
Abhimanyu, as I said, it's a work of mammoth proportions. It's a sprawling output that you have come out with. Usually, we don't associate the word sprawling with documentaries, but in your case, you have made an exception out of it. So, could you take us through the origins, how the idea came into being, and you spent a long time, of your filmmaking career trying to perfect it, trying to fine tune it, and now that we are finally ready for the theatrical release, if you could take us through the journey from the beginning to from what we are right now, it would be really great for our viewers.
So see, it all started way back in 2008 when I used to work for a television station, and I used to cover the music beat. And while covering the music beat, I obviously got access to musicians, and I made my own network and all that. But then I always had this thing in my head where I would think that we all know American bands, British bands, but what about rock bands in India? Nobody knows the story. So it was an idea which was prompted from curiosity. If I was really curious. Who are these guys? I mean, we all know we know maybe the few popular ones like Indian Ocean, Remo is famous, Usha Uttabji is famous, but then there are other bands also who started. So it was just curiosity that killed the cat. And one thing led to another thing. And yes, I did a 24-minute documentary for a news channel that time. But then I didn't feel that 24 minutes would give justice to a film like this because the history is very vast. And hence, one thing led into another. And I also realized that the way our mainstream media in India, the kind of content that they choose, I'm not going to fit in it for sure, because we all know what kind of content, especially the news channels, are running these days. So I resigned from mainstream, and then I went on my own journey. I was very lucky that my co-producer, Saurav Datta, approached me because he saw my work on YouTube as this old documentary was published there. And he was, he's also
the 24-minute one.
Right.
All right.
So he saw that one somewhere on YouTube, and then he contacted me and he said, look, I want to do something for Indian rock. The reason being because he was very passionate about rock and roll music. And, he's an Assamese guy, and in Assam, in Guwahati, rock and roll music is quite big, the scene over there. So I called him. I said, okay, if you are interested in doing something, then you should come to Bombay. I used to live in Bombay that time, and come meet me, show me if you've done any shoots so far. Have you done anything? You have any footage from these guys and all? And I have also shot something so far because I keep shooting something or the other, and I kept putting it in my hard drive. So I had some material with me. So he came over to Bombay as a stranger. He just came to Bombay and spent time with me, spent a month with me, where we basically exchanged our hard drives and we got into what needs to be done. We started preparing the budgets and all that. And after that, Saurav funded the project where a lot of shootings happened. And then later on, we managed to get a friend of ours named Elizabeth Golden Coffee. She's an American lady based out of London who's also got an office in Mumbai. So she, because Saurav's funding had got over, We didn't have any more
Hmm.
money, and we'd already shot a few interviews, and then we were stuck. So we were like, I don't know how to take this film forward. And Saurabh was like, even I don't have any cash left. Whatever is done is done. So the film was basically in a hard drive for 2 years, and we were doing nothing about it because there was no funding. Then, luckily for us, Elizabeth came and she funded the whole thing. She completed the edit. She helped me do that. And now, even the theater release, releasing a film in theaters, the amount that we needed for promotions, for posters around in 20 cities, this, that, there's a lot going on. So I've been very fortunate that I met two people who had this love for rock and roll, personal love, and that is the reason the funding happened. So I would say this film was never made with an intention to make money out of it. This film has always been a passion project for all of us.
Three rock lovers coming together and
Yeah, this is what happened. And this is how I don't think so any sensible producer would have invested money in Indian rock, because Indian rock doesn't make money back. It doesn't make profit back.
hmm,
Rock and roll in India does not make money, is what I'm
hmm,
saying. So
hmm.
you needed those kind of people who were actually passionate about the subject. And I was just fortunate enough to find these two people in my life.
Moving on, Abhimanyu, you also found more people who became a part of this passion project of yours. Luke Kenny, to begin with, Rahul Ram, people like Usha Uttap, they are associated with your documentary. Susmit Bose, the urban legend, and who is often regarded as India's Bob Dylan or Pete Seeger. And we also have Imtiaz Ali. So tell us about that aspect. How did you get these people on board?
See, Luke Kenny, he's like my elder bro. He's
Mm-hmm.
been the mentor he's been the captain of the ship who's driven the ship when we are out of petrol. So like
Hmm.
Luke was not there. I mean, initially, obviously, I met him, we interviewed him, and then that was it. We didn't think that Luke would have an additional role on top of that. But then, once the film started getting accepted in these film festivals around the world, that's the time
Hmm.
I contacted Luke and I said, look, we didn't even think it will go anywhere. Now it's going into film festivals. Would you like to come with me on stage and travel with
Hmm.
me a little bit, represent the film in the festival? He said yes to it, and there the whole association started with Luke, and I am so thankful to him. I'm going to give him a special thanks in the opening credit of the film, because he's done so much for the film. It's unbelievable. He's just gone
Yeah,
out of the way.
yeah, he has really gone out of the way, and I've seen his passion, his zeal every time, he's been with these screenings. I had the privilege of interviewing him also along with you, and I was really excited, and I learned so many things about his own journey. The film takes us through that as well, that he was India's first, basically, male VJ. So that in
Yeah.
itself is so enlightening, and it's like a journey of history, it's like a journey of music, and it's also very intimate in a way. So everything came together, and it is creating this synergy that we all dream for, in a movies that we watch. And I'm sure as a filmmaker, you too would be sensing that synergy coming together and hitting us in a very intimate way.
See,
So
absolutely. I would say all these musicians, whether we talk about, say, Indian Ocean, Rahul sir, for example, he's gone. He went out of the way. Like we met a couple of times. Once the screening, you were there when it happened in Delhi.
yeah,
Rahul sir
yeah.
was there on stage with me. That is the time I got, introduced to him, because see, these interviews happened long time ago. People forgot that they'd
Hmm.
given
Hmm.
me an interview. So to get them
Hmm.
back, and the kind of support all the musicians are giving at me at the moment. For example, even Indian Ocean is promoting the film on their social media handles now, and Luke is doing that, and all the musicians have come together. It is not for anything else except their love for rock and roll, and
Hmm.
their astonishment that a film on Indian rock is going to be on the big screen, which is unbelievable. I've never heard of this before. So I think it's all come back together to form this
Hmm.
synergy, and I'm really,
Hmm.
really thankful to all these
Hmm.
musicians helped me out.
Abhimanyu, I saw the film as a journey. It's both an internal journey for you as a filmmaker trying to, retrace the origins of Indian rock. And also, the film in itself is a journey. So, how do you see these two journeys? Because when you watch the film, you get a sense of journey. So, there's one journey with you discovering and trying to retrace the origins, starting with the 30s and, taking us through those amazing eras, one after the other, one legend after the other. And obviously then there was this other journey that you were taking physically. So how do you see these two journeys complementing each other, going parallelly and probably somewhere meeting, and now we are seeing it emerging on the big screen very soon? So how do you see these
So
two journeys happening simultaneously?
if you ask me, I it's a journey of my life that has happened. And one journey is where I've getting associated with these musicians, making the film, and convincing everybody to give me their interviews and all that. That's like the filmmaking journey. And now begins the second journey, where all these musicians, because now we are promoting the film, this is what is going on. And this journey after making the film, where we had to get the synergy of all the musicians together. And it's very unexpected for me that this has happened. I still am breathing it in, that can't believe that this is going to theaters.
And I think it is going to be one of the biggest releases post-COVID. So that in itself is a big thing, that finally, as people have started heading back towards the theaters, it would be probably one of the first films, one of the first bigger releases that we have. So how was COVID playing a role in, were there any delays in theatrical release because of COVID, or it has nothing to do with your plans?
It changed all my plans. Because see, as we spoke earlier also, I had given you interviews before, and I used to always say that this film is meant for OTT platforms, because OTT platforms were accepting this kind of content. But then COVID happened. Now, just when COVID happened, we had an agency on board, which is Luminosity Pictures, that is our distributing partners, headed by their CEO, Rahul Merchant. He's the guy who made this PVR deal happen. We always told him that, see, Rahul, this is going to go to OTTs. Don't worry about theaters and don't bother about theaters. And that is where we were working until the lockdown happened. When the lockdown happened, then all these movies like the Lakshmi Bombs and the Coolie Number Ones and, all these big names and big banners, they started releasing on OTTs. What happened? I thought all the budget that the OTTs had for independent filmmakers like me was all going to these big people, because there was no theatrical releases happening. I think that has helped us once the lockdown opened up. And I think the fact that COVID happened, probably it's helped us to get a theatrical release, honestly, because we had no option. And when we got an offer from theaters, because now theaters are trying to make a comeback, they want to make a comeback, and they understand that good content can only bring them back in public's eyes. And I think it's a shift in dynamics, and it's gone on our favor. But because now we will go into theaters, I think the OTTs are going to open up for us after this. So I think COVID indirectly has helped us, has helped our cause in a very, very unexpected manner.
Because content is becoming more and more centric these days, and the content that your film offers is so unique. And from what I have watched over the years, documentaries and films, I feel it's of an international standard. And to make a documentary film about the evolution of Indian rock, which is at par with some of the best, documentaries happening around the world, that in itself is a huge achievement. And now to be able to release it theatrically and to bring it to the people, and let's not forget that for 1 year people have been deprived of live concerts also. So for them also it will be a very, very emotional journey to watch that film unfold on the big screen because of what that they have gone through over the last 1 year. No live concerts, mostly online, and to be
Yeah.
able to watch their favorite legends on the big screen, and to be able to experience that evolution, that journey with the film, I think would be something really, really special. So you have any special plans for the premiere in Mumbai?
Yes, we will have an event, and I hope the lockdown doesn't happen again because I've been reading about. Because if that happens, it's
Fingers
going
fingers
to
crossed. Yeah, yeah.
just, yeah, fingers crossed, like totally. Because yeah, I hope it doesn't. But our plan so far is there will be a media review day where we will invite the media for the review and all that. That will happen before the release date, and then there will be a premiere as well, which we will do on the 4th of March,
Fourth of
one day
March.
before the official release, where we are trying to bring all the musicians in the film together and bring them on stage when this happens.
Wow.
So that is what we are planning at the moment and working towards it.
And I'm seeing these messages, these lovely messages pouring in from Rahul Ramsar, from Luke Kenny, and from the others involved. So is it a part of the strategy, or is it something that they are doing out of their own accord because they are so connected, so associated with the project in an intimate way that they want to, still remain a part of the journey?
It's part of their love that they are showering me. Basically, they are not paid to do this at all. Nothing has been planned like that. But I just, Rahul, my distributing partner, he told me that we should just make as much noise as possible, and he just
Hmm.
suggested, why don't you speak with the artist if they can just record a video message and send it across. Man, everybody is doing it because it's also their journey. It's their film, it's not my film. If these artists did not come together with me, this would have never been possible. So I think they all realize how big this has become now, because they have all been playing rock and roll music in India for years, and they all understand content like this is very difficult to get into big
Hmm.
screens. So when that is happening now, I think it's got everybody excited. So all the creative juices are flowing in now.
Abhimanyu, could you also take us through the festival journey, how that was like, and which all festivals it got, featured in, and what was the overall experience like for you as a filmmaker and others involved in the entire, journey?
See, going to film festival was a learning curve for us,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
this is the first time I ever went on stage. I've never been on stage as a filmmaker before. So, you learn how to deal with the audience, and, what you need to say on the stage. And, plus you meet so many other filmmakers in these film festivals as well. So I went to a lot of film festivals. I even went to the USA. There's a festival called the Webisode Festival, for example. It happened in Houston, Texas. And I went there just with the intention that I need to learn how, because these are the, if I didn't go to these festivals, I probably would not have got my distribution today done, because that was totally a learning curve. Meet more filmmakers, and then learn from those guys, how this content needs to get out, because everybody's got their own experience, and there's a lot of amazing independent filmmakers who attend these festivals. So we went there. In fact, my producer Saurav, my co-producer, he even went to he took the film to the Cannes film market as well, where we had a paid screening, where we paid some money, and we did a screening for all the distributors to see. The intention was to learn and to make as much noise as possible through these festivals. So once we crossed 30 or 40 festivals, then we could say, okay, our film is been to this many festivals. So it had an impact. It helped us get the distribution deal, what we have now, I would say. It's totally dependent on that.
No, I personally, while I was watching the film, I was obviously fascinated by the amount of efforts that have gone into it, because it's like a huge, huge, journey trying to capture the saga and the stories behind it, and also interviewing all those legendary personalities that you have managed. But what fascinated me most was how you actually put it together, because I was wondering that the content you would had on your hard disk would be, in terabytes, or probably, unimaginable kind of editing that it would have required. So was there a method to the way you edited the film and the way it has come out, or it was more like, trying to pick up the best footage and then hope and hit and try, and then probably reach out something which speaks to the wider audiences? Want to basically understand the editing process involved, because you were dealing with humongous amount of content.
See, it's both. What you are saying, it's both. One, the my editing approach and what I told my editor was, because my editor used to cut Bollywood films. He's into feature films and all that. So I told him that it's a documentary film, but the treatment of the edit should be like what you do in Bollywood. So it's just very, the kind of cuts are very fast. I was like, because it's a documentary, it can become boring, because the narration, there's so much of narration and people might feel bored. So I just want everything to go very fast. And this was what I told my editor, and rest, Satyajit, he's cut a lot of films. In fact, the last, I think he cut the Tashkent Files or something. He did a good job in whatever, the kind of cuts that I wanted. And also, like, to go through that amount of footage that we have, and what to put, what not to put, that was a big challenge, because as I told you before, there are still so many musicians. I could not put them in the film because there was no space. I think this documentary, as I always say, it deserves a series, and I hope somebody is hearing me who has the money to put in it, and help me get this out. There's so many stories, Murtaza, that people don't know about. These are only some names coming out. And I'm not just talking about India. There's this whole South Asian region. Like, you can do one film on Nepal rock, like one film on Sri Lankan scene. There's a big scene in Singapore, Malaysia. All these South Asian countries have not been covered by anyone so far.
I wanted to come to that, Abhimanyu, because the nature of material that you have in your hands, I also was a little intrigued that could it be expanded into something bigger, because this entire George Banks things, starting with the 30s and then we go to Park Street, during the 50s, and we see how, it became the big hub. You also talk about psychedelic rock. You also talk about Hindi rock. You also talk about non-English rock. There's so much out there. And when we go to the Northeast, there are so many myths about, Northeast, and you have broken those myths. You have addressed those myths. You have broken some of those myths, and you have given us an entirely different picture about the music scene in Northeast, or the so to say the rock scene in the Northeast. So these chapters themselves are so, complete in their own ways, that they could be a separate documentary on every chapter. There could be one set in the 30s, and there could be one in the 50s, then there could be one on psychedelic rock again, there could be one on your Beatles experience. You yourself visit the ashram. And so want to understand your thoughts as a filmmaker. Would you really be up for it if you get an assignment of this proportion, and if somebody asks you, say one of the big OTT platform asks you to, if they commission a project of that sort, would you be invested in that idea?
Absolutely. I'll tell you something, not just chapters in the film. If you see every character in the film, he's his own story.
Yeah.
So like Gary Lawyer had a different journey. Gary Lawyer, for example, survived playing Western music in India and lived a comfortable life, And he did a lot of jingles as well, for advertisement and stuff like that, but only in English. So that is Gary Lawyer's journey. If you look at Remo Fernandez, he's got a different journey altogether. Started, way back in the 60s with Western music, and then of course he did Bollywood. Then you have the Local Trains journey, Indian Ocean's journey. I wish I could just convert all of these guys into a documentary. It's just that I need the right funding for that.
There's Usha Uttar. There's my favorite Susmit Bose in there. Who in himself is, he's like a huge institution in himself. Hum Honge Kamyab and all those amazing.
Yeah, the first musician ever to Indian musician ever to sing Hum Honge Kamiyan, we shall, Hindi version of We Shall Overcome. I mean, how nice of these guys to just even Sushmit sir sent me a video message just yesterday and I was watching it. How nice of them to just come around and I didn't pay them any money or anything like that. They just genuinely good-hearted musicians, good people who understand that this film needs to get out, and hence the support.
I don't know how to say this, Abhimanyu, but you are really, really fortunate to be sitting where you are right now. You are at the, what should I say? Uh, it's a big discovery that you have actually made. To be frank, as somebody who wasn't as educated about the Indian rock, but after watching your film and the kind of research that it made me do, because in order to write the review, I had to do my own research. So you
Yeah.
are at the cusp of this huge discovery, and I'm sure this is going to open up an entire new horizon for people who might want to take up Indian rock. It's going to inspire youngsters through these journeys. That is going to obviously be happening. It is also going to inspire a lot of filmmakers. It will inspire a lot of documentarians, because seeing your example, how I think you have really, it has been a grind, no less than a grind for years. You have stuck by what you have basically you believed in something, and finally that realization is happening that yes, it was worth it. I'm sure through this journey, through these episodes that you have lived, and now that it has shaped up into something big, I'm sure it's going to inspire a wide array of people, ranging from filmmakers to musicians to technicians to even normal people, to even filmmakers who may want to explore something which is very, very different, because our mainstream cinema offers little. It's a sad thing to say, but with the parallel movement not happening anymore, the Indian new wave also little deflated, the commercial space offers little, even though there are filmmakers who keep trying new things, but there is no impetus, there is no momentum. But with a film like Rockumentary releasing theatrically, I see a lot of hope. Frankly, I see a lot of hope, because I see an entire new route opening for filmmaking.
This is new for me, but I think this film, by having a theatrical release, is now a path breaker because we've broken a path. Um, Whatever the circumstances, because COVID happened and things change, but a documentary film to go in theaters made on the subject of Indian rock, I still cannot believe it. It's
I can only imagine that how fascinated people would be, even outside India, to see this journey, because nobody knows about Indian rock, and within the Indian rock, how you are able to demarcate different, even in Northeast, you are able to bring a whole new light into the subcultures, subcultures. That's so beautiful about the film, that you are exploring cultures, and you are then exploring, you're going deeper and deeper, trying to dig it further into those realms. And I can only imagine when this story goes out internationally, probably after the theatrical release, we can hope for you to release it in international pockets also, and once it goes to OTT, I can only imagine the kind of responses you would be getting, because there would be people who would be their eyes would be completely opening up to this new blind side which probably never existed for them.
See, outside India, the image that we have is that we are the land of Bollywood, snake charmers, and elephants. But like Western countries do not have an idea that we are just not Bollywood. We have different kinds of art forms, and it's just that. Okay, let me tell you, Freddie Mercury, for example, Farooq started his career in Bombay. His name was Farooq Bulsara, where his teenagers, when he formed his first band, was in Mumbai, and then he goes to the West. He moved to England, and he formed one of the biggest bands in the world, the Queen. But the roots started in India. You have people like that. You if you see, there is a lot of India connection in a lot of rock and roll, Western rock and roll. The Beatles, their visit to
Beatles.
Rishikesh. Their visit to Rishikesh. I mean, they came to do transcendental meditation at Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's ashram, stayed there for a month with Mia Farrow, and the Beach Boys were also here. And what did they go back with? They went back with the biggest album of their life, which is called the White Album. 27 songs were written in India. In fact, Ringo Starr was never a songwriter, wrote his first song in India while being at the ashram. So you
Wow.
see, India's image is just Bollywood. But if you go deeper into our art and culture, there is a lot. For example, I'll tell you another story, very interesting. There was a band called The Who. Peak of their career, they went to Goa, and they left their entire equipment for musicians in Goa and came back. So, I mean, somebody still has that equipment. There is a lot. There is a lot. Even Led Zeppelin, they have a song called Kashmir. There's a song named Kashmir. They came to India. Robert Plant, Jimmy Page were hanging around here. So see, the problem is that everybody gives too much focus to Bollywood. If we start looking
Hmm.
around, then there is a lot that
Hmm.
India as a country has influenced when it comes to rock and roll.
Hmm. So true, so true. Abhimanyu, lastly, I wanted to ask, the version that I watched, a year or so back, how is the new version vary from that one? I heard that you are upgrading the sound, you are upgrading the image. Any other changes other than that?
So the narration, the voiceover of the film is the same. We have not
Mm-hmm.
changed anything. There will be a
Mm-hmm.
minor visual change here and there because of
Mm-hmm.
obviously the theater requirements and the
Mm-hmm.
certification board and all
Yeah.
that. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, there's some nudity shots and
Mm-hmm.
some things like that that cannot go
Mm-hmm.
on Indian theaters because
Mm-hmm.
we are looking for a certificate where the film is open to all. It's not
Mm-hmm.
just an 18 plus film on theaters. So
Mm-hmm.
because we want the young guys to go and watch it, like
Mm-hmm.
the college students should be going, they should
Mm-hmm.
be, because they don't know this part of history. So that is the
Mm-hmm.
reason we don't want to make an 18 plus film for theaters.
Hmm.
And so there
Hmm.
is very minor visual changes,
Hmm.
but the essence of the film has not been touched. It's the same.
I personally cannot, wait to watch it again on the big screen at the earliest possible opportunity that I get. And on behalf of Transcontinental Times, I would like to wish you and your entire team the very best of
Thank
luck.
you.
And I would also like to congratulate you on a personal basis because I remember how closely and how assiduously, how involved you have been in this project. And finally, it is coming, to this big realization and it's happening on the big screen which probably none of us had dreamt while
I think
uh,
I think it is congratulations to all of us, including you, to believe in us. You were there to write a review on the film when nobody was there. So it's all those people who believed in it, whether it's the journalist community, whether it's the artist community, whether you talk about my crew members, my sound designer, etc., etc. I think everybody's involvement in it and belief in it has taken this film where it is, because alone filmmaking is a teamwork. A director cannot do anything alone. I think the universe conspired to bring us where we are now, and it's just thankful to everybody who believed in it.
Abhimanyu, I think it would be perfect if you could end it with a small an invitation call to the viewers that why they should watch this film on the big screen. I think that would be the perfect ending to our discussion, and you are the best person to do
So
it.
So, guys, whoever follows rock and roll, do you know the story of rock and roll in your own country? We follow Nirvana, we follow Pink Floyd, we follow Led Zeppelin. But what about our Indian Oceans, our Remo Fernandez, our Usha ji? Come on, come forward. The film is releasing in PVR cinemas on 5th of March. Come forward as a community and help us watch this, because this is a very important history of your own country and you deserve to know this.
Thank you so much, Abhimanyu. Thank you so much for taking the time out and joining from Bhopal, your hometown. And I know you were very busy, so really, really happy and really, really thankful that you took the time out from your busy schedule, because I know the release is coming and you are really busy and you are involved in so many things, last minute things that are happening. So really, really grateful to you that you could take the time out and do this for us. Thank you so much.
It's my always my pleasure to see you, Murtaza, and thank you for inviting me.
All right, then this was Abhimanyu Kukreja, the director of Rockumentary, The Evolution of Indian Rock, which is releasing on the 5th of March in theaters near you, PVR Cinemas. And so until the next time, this is Murtaza Ali Khan signing off. See you soon with very soon with another interesting personality. So do keep us hooked, and do keep us sending your feedback and your queries so that we are able to answer back with what all we can. Right now, this is the initial and nascent stage for us also, but we are also evolving, and hopefully in a few months time you will see it more structured. We will have proper schedule in place, and we'll be doing it in a more structured way. But until then, we are doing it in more of a impulsive way, so to say, as and when we get an opportunity to interview or talk to an exciting personality. Like today there was Abhimanyu, the other day there was Vivan, and now 2-3 interesting people are also lined up. So please bear with us until then, and we are planning to put a proper structure in place. So very soon you will see it more structured than it has been over the last 2-3 episodes. So thank you so much, and looking forward to meeting you again very soon.